Chapter 5. Adam and I couldn't walk together openly anymore because we might be reported. That proved to be the hardest adjustment to make from the start of the color game. Being reported wouldn't have hurt me so much because blues, Otero said, are treated differently by society with respect and tolerance. Adam, though, would be the one who'd be punished. He'd be fined and made a fool of, and who knows what else. It made me wonder if Adam and I could ever have become friends in real life if one of us had been very poor. We'd have so little in common because where we live makes us what we are. Friends are made usually among those you have the most in common with. How can a really rich person find much in common with someone very poor? I think that money, or the lack of it, makes more of a difference between people than color. When we got to Otero's class the next day, all my antennas stood up trying to sense who might report us. The rest of the class were waiting for Otero, but in different groupings from the day before. This time the blues, all black and Latino, were closest to the front door, and Adam's group, the oranges, stood apart. Well, Amy, Brian stepped into place beside me, ignoring Adam. A senior and sports editor of the school paper, he had danced with me at the luau until Adam had told him the rest of the dances were taken. Brian said, "I see you're wearing your armband, Amy. Very good. How about your journal?" I fished inside my notebook and brought out the new pink pad. "Glad you're following the rules. You going to the Halloween dance, by the way?" Adam and I had planned to go to the Halloween dance together weeks ago, before Otero's class. I bit my lip. Could we still attend if we weren't supposed to socialize because of our colors? "Well, I don't know," I said, noting Adam's frown. "Want to go with me?" "Bug off," Adam exclaimed. "She's my girl, Brian." "Who's talking to you, Orange? What are you even doing walking near a blue?" Brian took out his small notebook and marked something down as Otero trotted along the hall, fumbling among his keys. "What about it, Amy?" Thanks, but I think I'll pass. Take my advice. If you socialize with oranges, your blue friends are going to think less of you, even shun you. People who have anything to do with oranges are either troublemakers or they have no respect for their own class. "Oh, come on, you don't mean that." "Don't I?" Brian smiled at me again. "See you around." "Creep," Adam grumbled as Brian strode ahead to the classroom door and called out, "Blues first." I gave Adam an apologetic shrug and moved forward, slipping by classmates whose eyes I avoided so they wouldn't have to bow. When I took my seat, Paul Thomas leaned over and, in a loud voice, asked, "How about after class, you and me stand right outside the door and make the whole class bow?" "Paul, you're depraved," I said. "Yeah, and loving it. I got this picture of myself now, you know? Thomas Industries, that's me, right there on the stock exchange. Got this house in Bel Air, 5 acres, and guard dogs all over, and this gorgeous wife who greets me at night in a slinky gown with a glass of Chivas Regal. The kids are in private school, and I drive a Rolls. And all these other guys, these other colors," he said with distaste, "they're working for me. Those dark greens are practically panting to get my approval. The light greens tiptoe around like they're scared they'll be out on the street. And the oranges, well, that's what the guard dogs are for." "Thomas, you are crazy. Mean, too." I had to laugh. Paul seemed to have changed overnight. No more the guy slouching in his seat trying to look as inconspicuous as possible. Having blue power seemed to have brought out all kinds of sides to him, anger and spite against the poor and hope and ambition for himself. Otero stepped in front of his desk and crossed his arms over his chest. "All right, guys, now we come to sex discrimination. Tex and no tex. Mary, come up here and explain, please." Mary ambled to the front of the room and picked up a piece of chalk. "In Ray's game," she said, "the genders are reversed. The superior sex, called tex, are the women." She wrote tex equals women on the board. "The inferior sex, men, are called no-tex." I laughed, and the boys nearby groaned. No-tex must curtsy to tex of their color and higher colors, and if you don't know what a curtsy is, Brian will show you. With an insipid smile on his face, Brian stepped forward, pretended to hold out a skirt, and bent one knee. That's how no-techs curtsy, okay? When no one objected, Mary went on. No-techs walk behind techs and sit behind them in class. There is no one lower in this world than an orange no-tech. Not only is he in the lowest social class, but he's an insignificant gender, a male. Mary pushed her glasses against her face with one finger. Sometime during the next weeks, we'll expect the no-techs to bring coffee or tea to class and to make and bring cookies. I can't even boil water, Justin called out. You better learn fast, Carol answered. And the paper each tech must write about her superiority will be typed by a no-tech. Hey, I like that, one of the girls cried. My boyfriend goes, type this, type that. I go, how come you can't do it? You got fewer fingers than me? It made me think. I had typed several papers for Adam and never thought anything of it, though it took time away from other things I could have done. Adam had taken typing. How come he didn't do it? Finally, Mary continued, we'll have a no-tech beauty contest. The men will be judged for their physical attributes. Her last words were drowned out by cat calls, squeals, and applause. To repeat, for their physical attributes and their talents by a panel of techs. I think that's all. Seating, Otero prompted. Oh, yes. No techs sit behind techs, so all you males who are sitting beside or in front of a female of your color better change seats. The grumbling male class members picked up their books and moved about. And if you counted your money yesterday and compared it with what others got, Otero said above the uproar, you'll note that techs in each color got more than no techs of the same color, just as in society men often earn more than women who do the same work. He paused. Now that we've set up our imaginary society as it really is, with the class you're born into largely deciding your future potential, and with the sex you're born into affecting your income and degree of subservience, we can now begin to play the game. G-Force, we'll have your reports now. The G-Force came to the front of the room and one by one read from their books. Light green Sharon Osborne was not wearing her color band in gym. Fined $5. Blue Paul Thomas has not purchased a journal yet, but we'll be lenient this time and expect him to bring his notebook tomorrow. Sure thing. Light green Justin Charles does not have his journal yet. How come, Charles? The law is the law. You were told yesterday, like everyone else, to have that notebook, right? Yes. Justin looked puzzled. Then where is it? Is your memory so bad you can't remember something so simple? But I told you. No excuses. Fined $5, and if you don't have it by tomorrow. You just excused Paul Thomas for the same thing. That's enough back talk, Light Green. Another word and I'll double that fine. Adam Tarcher? The G4 ruffled through several pages. You're an orange? Yes, Tarcher. You were seen talking with a blue on several occasions. He held up several slips of paper. These were in the think box. Stand up when you're spoken to. My heart beat anxiously as I turned around to see Adam, face flushed with embarrassment. What have you got to say, Orange? Sue me. I laughed with relief at Adam's good humor and control. My, we have a rebel in our midst, Bill said, smiling and scratching his head thoughtfully. If the police had stopped you in real life, Orange, and you'd answered like that, you'd probably get shoved around a bit, then handcuffed and carted off to the pokey. But this is a game, so all we'll do is fine you. $15. $15? Adam exclaimed. What? That's a fourth of the money I've got. Isn't that a shame? Bill stared Adam down. Next time maybe you won't talk back to your superiors, and if we have any more trouble from you, you orange no-tech. He drew the words out as if they were dirty. You'll find we can make life pretty miserable. Sit down. He turned to me and in a gentle voice said, Miss Sumoto. I jumped up ready to be punished as Bill reached my side. We've had reports that you've been consorting with an orange, Amy. We've also heard you don't demand the respect due you from your inferiors. You wouldn't want us to demote you, would you? I stared at him, not answering. Stick out your hand, he ordered. I put out my hand. He slapped the back of it lightly. Now, let that be a lesson, and don't do it again. Bill turned to a dark green, leaving me in a daze. Was that all? Adam fined and tongue-lashed, and I get a mere tap on the wrist. For the remaining period, Otero lectured on racial injustice as it was handled in literature. He assigned reading material, a book on the Black experience, one on American Indians, one on Latinos, and even one on the Japanese-American experience during World War II. The period ended in a whirl of confusion as students lined up according to color and sex. A black girl named Gwen and I were the only two blue techs, so we led the way from the room. I walked down the hall slowly, hoping Adam would catch up, and hoping he'd stay away so I'd not get him into more trouble. There had to be a way to sabotage Otero's game, to get everyone together to help each other, regardless of the G-force. But how? "Carol, wait," I called, hurrying after my friend. Carol stiffened as she slowed to my pace. Her eyes darted about anxiously. "I want to talk to you." "I'm not supposed to talk to blues." "You're not. I'm talking to you. That's allowed. All you have to do is say yes or no, and you can't be reported." Carol nodded, and we continued down the hall together. "Listen," I said, "I've been thinking. Let's all be friends. Blues, dark greens, light greens, oranges. There's no reason we should turn against each other, just to prove Otero's right about society. What if I united the blues and you did the same with the dark greens, and we try to help the other colors?" "How?" "Dark greens aren't supposed to talk to blues. So we'll meet secretly." An orange passing by caught our eyes and bowed and then hurried away. "I don't know," Carol said. "Why? Surely you can't believe in all this." "I don't want to get into trouble and be demoted. In fact, today, Mary said I was prime material for becoming a blue." She stood taller and smiled. "But don't you hate how they're treating the lower colors?" I persisted. Carol shrugged. "It won't hurt those rich white kids to know what it's like for us. They only have to live like that for 4 weeks. She lowered her voice as Brian came into view. "Then you won't help?" "No." "Will you at least think about it?" Brian stopped a little way down the hall and leaned against the wall, watching us. "Carol? Sorry, Amy, but no. I want to play the game the way it's supposed to be played. Gotta go." She gave me an apologetic smile, then hurried away. I stood there in the middle of the nearly empty hall watching Carol's retreating back. Brian stopped her and then wrote something in a small notebook, looking my way. Would Carol have reported our conversation? I got cold shivers down my back. Was it possible? Did she want that much to be a blue that she'd fink on a friend?